As the president's $3.5 trillion entitlement and spending plan hangs by its fingernails, jeopardized by congressional Democrats' infighting, the White House has pulled this 11th hour talking point out of thin air.
We talk about price tags. It is zero price tag on the debt. We're going to pay for everything we spend. It's going to be zero. Zero.
The White House spin machine went to work. As the Wall Street Journal editorialized, quote, the clip of Mr. Biden was shared on Twitter by a National Economic Council flack with the claim that building back better is going to cost $0, which was retweeted by White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain. White House Deputy Press Secretary Andrew Bates told Axios, quote, the bill's price tag is $0 because it will be paid for by ending failed special tax giveaways for the richest taxpayers and big corporations, adding nothing to the debt. The Journal quipped, quote, one requirement of a modern political flack is being incapable of embarrassment. And money grows on trees. But it wasn't just the White House that went to work. The president's loyal allies in the media unquestioningly parroted the message.
But in fact, the bill itself will not cost $3.5 trillion in the sense that it will be entirely or at least partly paid for. So the actual cost in terms of deficits will be smaller than that, perhaps even zero, although I think that's unlikely. And it's not even, fully spending. It's not really right to call it a $3.5 trillion spending bill because there's probably about $1 trillion of tax cuts in it, too.
That comment provoked this observation from Fox News senior analyst Brit Hume, quote, what idiocy. This woman is a columnist for the Washington Post. But it wasn't just the Post columnists. The paper's hard news reporters took the bait, hook, line, and sinker, too. Its lead story on the $3.5 trillion plan commenced. President Biden promised Friday that his sweeping domestic agenda package will cost nothing because Democrats will pay for it through tax hikes on the wealthy and corporations, a show of confidence despite the struggles of congressional Democrats to bridge internal divisions on myriad issues. The piece's only skepticism is expressed in the second paragraph, which called the new talking point, quote, an attempt by Biden to assuage some of the cost concerns pointedly expressed by moderate Democrats about the size of the legislation. Even if the huge cost was paid for by closing tax loopholes, by doubling the IRS agents to track fraud and mistakes, by raising corporate taxes and taxes on the rich, the cost would be passed on to consumers in higher prices. Since many small business owners file taxes as individuals, they would be hit too.
Yeah, I've never seen Washington spend so much to kill so many American jobs, to raise prices even higher, and to expand the welfare state, the greatest expansion in our lifetime. And as we pointed out, this breaks President Biden's pledge to not raise taxes on the low and middle-income families. And you don't have to take our word for it. The Congress's own scorekeeper, the Joint Committee on Taxation, confirms that low-income, middle-class families will begin to see tax increases. The tax policy says beginning next year. So these, and to put them in perspective, these tax hikes on our local businesses are 3 times greater than the tax cuts we gave them to spur this economy.
If you add all the costs of all these new programs Biden has already passed and has proposed this year, plus the $6 trillion budget, that is more money, adjusted for inflation, you ready for this, than the money we spent to finance the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, the Intercontinental Rail System, the Interstate Highway System, and the moon landing, all in one.
The biggest fear expressed by skeptics of the Build Back Better plan is that it will turbocharge inflation already showing up with higher prices in everything from gasoline to groceries to building supplies to new and used cars. Worse, inflation is in effect a tax on those who are least able to weather it, the poor. Doug Mckelway for the Washington Examiner.